This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
It just looks like he's trying to stretch his jaw the whole time.
He unhinges his jaw.
There's
like
no lips.
snake.
It's all jaw.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what animal doesn't have lips?
What?
Snakes.
Snakes.
That's why it's all jaw.
Yeah.
He's
You
just
sure about
opening
that?
his mouth.
Yeah, bad kissing is a deal breaker. Dated a girl in high school, like kissing a skeleton.
That's everyone's take, right?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is a bad is a bad kisser a deal breaker?
Who's the person out there that's like, I can deal with a bad kisser?
It's kissing like Pacino, where he's coming in and it seems like he's going to eat your face.
Yeah, and
It's all chin
And it seems like it smells like cigarettes, probably.
and
mozzarella.
A little red wine.
and
I read he's never been married, Al Pacino. Ever.
My
In his
guy.
entire life. He's dating a 20-something-year-old. You're married.
I'm just saying.
I know.
If you're living that life as Al Pacino, like I just like that. Dan, that was you till like 3 years ago. What are you talking
Pacino is never married and dating someone who's in her 20s?
Yeah, he has children. He dated Beverly D'Angelo from the National Lampoon's Vacation series.
That
for a
is
very long time.
shocking, though. Pacino's near 80. Like Dane Cook got dragged the other day because he's engaged to somebody after 5 years of dating who's 23 years old. Al Pacino's 80 something.
Yeah,
Or is he in his 80s yet?
I think he's pushing.
I think he's 80.
Yeah.
I did not know that Pacino was never married. That is
82.
something I am learning right now.
Man, I'm full of useless information.
Chris,
that Kurt Russell one, people are still reeling.
Chris, you coming in with my guy.
I'm just saying it's
Weird.
Most people that grow up as like in the stardom that he's had in his life to just never be married. It's just I just imagine that guy's lived.
There's no question that Al Pacino has lived. He's
82 years. I mean,
he's 82 years old.
by definition, he's lived.
What is his what are his first movies? What, a Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico? Like, what are we looking at? Early 70s.
Attica!
Early 70s on Pacino. He's been
What was his first
50
movie?
years. The guy's been making movies.
Me, Natalie. 1969 flick. He had a minor
Shit,
role.
10 years
29.
earlier than the movies that I'm selecting from. He's been doing it for 60 years.
What was his star-making vehicle? Was it Dog Day?
It's The Godfather. The
No,
Godfather
that
was
was
his
his-
third movie.
The Godfather was his third movie?
There was something
he
before
got the
that,
lead,
though.
He got the
Serpico was
lead in
before that.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
he got that
Marlon-
before Dog Day Afternoon.
Well, Marlon Brando
And
technically
Serpico?
was the lead.
He was top billing, but in terms
It was
of
one of those
screen
things
time,
where the studio wanted a bigger name, but the guy that made it was like, no, this is my guy. Yeah, he's like, no.
the guy that made
guy
that
who made it.
Godfather. The guy who made it. Come on.
You do cinephile. What are you rolling your eyes
I'm
at me for?
that fact I just gave you
tell
is
Adnan-
No, it was good.
I
info.
literally informed
The
you
guy
guys
that
about it,
made
and then you hop on the one
Adnan-
little
Francis
sentence.
Ford Coppola.
Like, you fool, you just educated us, but you said one little. I didn't even say the wrong thing. I just
Why'd you
didn't
tell me?
want to like.
You didn't know
mess-
his name.
I said I was gonna
Francis
say
Ford
Copes.
Coppola's
I was gonna say
Godfather.
Copes. I was like, they won't know what I'm talking about. so-
Copes.
Yeah.
I would know who you were
jerks.
talking about because it's Francis Ford Coppola.
FFC.
Tell
What other movies did he make?
Adnan Ver.
Yeah, a bunch of geniuses you are over here.
Godfather 2.
Apocalypse Now.
Godfather 3.
You need to
Jack-
just get Adnan's reaction to you saying, I said the guy who did The Godfather.
While educating the crew, I happened to not say his name in the sentence. That's
Just
what I
couldn't-
will say.
He couldn't think of the name
That's what I
fast
mean.
enough.
I was-
Chris,
I was
it happens
educating.
to all of us.
Thank you,
I
Jessica.
understand. We talk a lot, Dan, and sometimes we don't say things that we mean. Things don't come out right.
She
I
gets
said
it.
colander last week instead of colander. People did not want me to forget about that on Twitter. Just said the word the wrong way. It's fine.
Oh, he's done a lot of movies lately, Francis Ford Coppola, but nothing that I've ever really heard of. I knew he did Bram Stoker's Dracula. That shit bangs just because of Keanu's accent. Imagine, if you will, Keanu Reeves doing an English accent. You got to film.
You know you're looking at
You have a good one?
a real star's Wikipedia page when they have their own filmology wiki page, right?
Yeah.
When you scroll down to see all the movies they're in the grid, and then it's like, nope, own wiki page. There's so many.
I've got more useless information. Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder may actually still be married. I believe one of them is still under the impression that they legally got married on the set of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
What is the best of the vampire movies? Because I just saw this week What We Do in the Shadows.
Twilight.
I would argue on
Get the hell out of here, man.
Eclipse part 1.
No.
Eclipse
Stop
part
mighty.
2.
No. I would...
Blade.
I would suggest Blade's up there, man. Deacon Frost. Awesome villain. But I would say Bram Stoker's Dracula is probably my favorite.
Put it on the poll, please, Chris Cody. What is the best of the vampire movies? Bram Stoker's Dracula, Blade,
What was that, Dan?
or What
Hubba
We
Hubba.
Do in the Shadows?
What We Do in the Shadows is my actual favorite vampire movie. And
good.
the series on Hulu is excellent.
Morbius.
You were very critical of Morbius.
I miss it so. I do. I saw it twice, and I hated it both times, but I'm drawn to it.
Is it?
It's like it got its teeth in me.
Is it dead? Is the vampire? Of course, it's undead. Is the vampire franchise dead?
No, Blade's coming back. It's part of
Really?
the MCU next phase. Yeah. Mahershala Ali playing Blade. He's going to kill that.
About Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, that's a
The
good one.
first 30 minutes. I mean,
Half the movie
you
is a
talking about
vampire
Kong?
movie.
You don't even know it's a vampire
yeah,
movie.
but it's great.
Half of the movie is a vampire movie.
You don't even know the first 30 minutes of that movie.
Which
that
is
you're
the best
watching
part.
a
Yeah, that's
vampire
problematic.
Ooh, Interview with a Vampire. Interview with a Vampire is my
No.
Pretty
favorite.
good.
Oh,
No.
don't say no.
Tom
Don't say
Cruise,
no.
Cocky vampire.
Yes, yes.
The
it was.
Vampire Lestat.
That's a good one.
You know they're making the series of that on AMC.
Yep.
That movie's great.
Is-
Interview with a Vampire is the best one. Also, the sequel, Queen of the Damned, that turned into like a new metal musical with Aaliyah. That one's rad too. It's terrible, but rad.
Have we ever interviewed Patino?
I don't think we did. No, never Rick Pitino.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
Rick Pitino
No.
Jr.
Yeah.
when he was at FIU.
Right. How about the Lost Boys?
Michael. Yeah, that one's great.
It's great.
That one's great. That's a top 5 vampire movie.
Holds up, too.
Okay. Top 5 vampire
It's hard to
movies.
come up with 5. It's hard to come up.
I think we
I
have
just
it.
named
Yeah.
4 from
Twilight's
the
not on
Twilight
there.
series.
Twilight's not on there.
No.
Twilight's
no,
not on there.
No.
Twilight's terrible.
No.
We've seen the baseball scene in Twilight. It's sports.
No.
That immediately puts it on the top 5
That
list.
might make
No.
best baseball scenes. I'll give it that.
I don't think I've seen a single vampire movie. I'm scrolling through all of these. I'm trying to think of one of these that I've seen. Cinephile this week. Check me out.
Number 5, Mike Ryan.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Excellent, Mike.
Number 4.
Blade 2.
Number 3.
Blade.
Number 2.
Lost Boys.
Really?
You're not going to have What
think
We
I saw
Do in
this-
the Shadows in here?
I think I saw this Dracula one with Leslie Nielsen.
Classic.
Dracula Dead and Loving It was my first place.
Number 1.
This episode is brought to you by DraftKings Rainmakers. Have you heard about DraftKings Marketplace? It's the place to snag the latest digital collectibles across sports, entertainment, and culture. DraftKings has released their first ever NFT fantasy game, Rainmakers Football. It's the only NFT fantasy game licensed by the NFLPA. Now you can collect the hottest player card NFTs while playing free for millions in prizes. Right now, everyone can get their first full roster starter pack for free. Playing is simple. Buy, sell, bid, and win player card NFTs of the biggest names in the game through regular drops and auctions on DraftKings Marketplace. Build your NFT franchise and enter free Rainmakers football contests all season long to compete for millions in prizes. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now and sign up with promo code Dan. Click the Rainmakers tile and opt in to get your first full roster starter pack for free. Plus, play for millions in prizes all football season long and build the ultimate NFT fantasy franchise with Rainmakers Football. That's promo code Dan. Build, play, win, only at DraftKings. Contest entries dependent on type and number of NFTs held. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Dan Le Batard.
Enough with the DJ Khaled collaborations with people that are hot right now. We want to see DJ Khaled work with some of the great singers of yesteryear. Can you imagine how great it would be if DJ Khaled started bringing out special guests onto the stage, and one of them was Bryan Adams? Hey, everyone, it's Liza Minnelli!
Stugotz.
Barbara Streisand, yeah! Elton John, it's your song! Andrea Bocelli! Another one, Tony Bennett! Frankie Avalon!
Thomas Dolby is blinding you with science!
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code DAN for a special offer when you sign up. That's code DAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
I've got something on Prey, the newest Predator movie. Roy, you did Predator 2, right? On Cinephobe?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Jess has never seen any Predator movie ever. You should have said, I'm familiar with Kevin Spacey's work. All right, and we're off.
Hey-o.
Let's talk about Predator, everybody. I saw Prey. Do you know what Prey is?
No.
Prey is a prequel in the Predator franchise.
Really?
And Prey, for me, is easily the second greatest Predator movie ever made by a wide gulf.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, it's a bit of a rhetorical trick that I'm doing because pretty much all the Predator movies outside of the original Predator are not great. We like the monster. Monster looks cool. We like cheesy action. I've watched every single Predator movie. Even I can admit, outside of one, they're not great. Roy, you know this firsthand because you just recently did a Cinephobe episode that focused on Predator 2.
Yep.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm remembering this incorrectly, but Predator 2 was set in a futuristic Los Angeles?
Yeah, that's right. 1997. This movie came out in, 91 or so. So this would have been like 1997.
Did they think that, what about 1997 through the prism of 1991 Predator 2 stuck out?
Well, apparently they thought that Los Angeles was going to be crime riddled. Like there were going to be gangs of Jamaicans.
Why would they think that in 1991 in Los Angeles?
Yeah. But what they didn't think of was what happened in this movie was everybody was dressed like it was 1958. Everybody was like wearing fedoras, and
they assumed that the fedora comeback would happen in 1997.
Yes.
No.
It was bad.
But did they get anything right about 1997?
No.
They
thought Jamaicans were doing voodoo in 1997. Apparently, also it was terrible. They got nothing right in that.
Was there any great societal or technological change that could have occurred in the mid 90s? Like, I don't think there was.
They could have anticipated cell phones being more prominent. No, they didn't do that.
No, there were still pay phones.
I was wondering if they were going to do something
Mike?
wild,
I mean,
like in 6 years we'll have laser guns.
No.
It's like Demolition Man did that in 1999. Laser guns started happening. But have you seen Prey, Roy?
Not yet.
You should watch Prey because Prey, like I said, is awesome. And it's actually been a little controversial because I guess there's a lot of people stuck in the past that don't think a woman lead could actually beat the Predator, especially with how if you follow the story of the film, the Predator only chases things that are chasing other things that are predators themselves, and the Predator deems that woman too weak to even chase at the beginning, and she uses that to her advantage after he runs through pretty much everybody in the cast. High recommendation. Stugotz, you would love this. I'm not sure if you actually know like the synopsis, but it's in like the 1700s.
Okay.
And there's a Comanche warrior that comes upon the Predator and has the weapons of the time and has to combat this alien predator beast that has slightly worse hardware at his disposal. Like even the technology for the Predator is kind of lacking, and that's where it kind of lost me just a little bit because the Predator doesn't have a metal helmet, He has one made of skull, and it causes problems for him.
Right.
But he arrived in a spaceship and has a cloaking device. I'm not exactly sure how he couldn't figure out the metal helmet part of it.
Are you saying in Prey, the Predator had a more advanced helmet than the original Predator?
No. It had a totally remedial one. It was made out of like another animal
weird.
skeleton.
Yes. Okay.
But it's odd because he arrived in a spaceship, but they haven't figured out helmet technology when they figured out everything else. But the cloaking device is glitchy. He has technological issues, being that it's a 1700s, but the action sequences are amazing, and there is a great callback to the 1980s Predator.
Okay.
One of the legendary lines. You'll know it. It's not really a spoiler alert if you don't want to hear this line of dialogue being rehashed in Prey. If it bleeds, we can kill it, which is Goosebumps. In preparation for my Prey viewing experience, I watched the original one. Don't need to watch any of the other ones. Don't need that in my life. They're not great. Especially the Shane Black one is super disappointing because Shane Black was in that 1980s Predator film.
There was also a reference to Predator 2 in there. At the end of Predator 2, the lead Predator, because there was a whole bunch of Predators in the spaceship at the end, tossed the gun to Danny Glover. Apparently it was the same gun that they used in Prey, because in that setting in Prey, it was the 1700s, as you said. It was a 1700s era gun.
But Predator 2 stunk, right? Like
it was terrible.
It was terrible. I don't know, Mike.
I didn't catch it. That is an awesome Easter egg that the Predator threw a 1700s gun to Danny Glover. That's cool. And that was the same gun from the Settlers.
Yeah.
That are the real villains of Prey outside of the actual Predator monster.
I don't know how I feel in general about the prequel, because I feel like I don't want to know what happened before once I've seen the best parts of this person or this story's life, you know? I don't need to know what happened before. Yeah, but it's
a different Predator monster.
Really?
Very clearly, yeah. Yes, I'm not going to give it away. But
like the Karate Kid, Mike, I don't need to see Ralph Macchio growing up. I wouldn't want to see that. Just we're seeing the best parts of his life.
Cobra
it's
Kai?
the All Valley Championship.
You would love Cobra Kai.
Right.
You would
But it's
love
not better
that
than
series.
the All Valley Championship where Miyagi gives him a fake black belt and he goes on and wins the thing.
Cobra Kai is better than the actual Karate Kid movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Cobra Kai
I find
is
that hard
awesome.
to believe.
No, Roy, have you watched any of Cobra Kai?
Not yet.
You're a big
That's on the
nostalgia
list,
guy. You need to get around to it. Cobra Kai is fantastic. But I'm telling you, watch Prey. You'll love it. Just as a standalone, it's a pretty rad action movie.
Okay, so you know me and my movie taste very well. I'm going to love it. Is what you're
It's the
saying.
same formula.
Okay.
Predator chasing prey.
Right.
Prey has to figure out how to kill the predator.
Okay.
Prey is totally overmatched and has to outwit this monster.
Right.
It touches on all the classics.
But it's the Predator, and I feel like that was the apex of that particular movie. I don't,
The original is the apex. Even someone that loves the Prey movie.
Okay.
Yeah, the original is the peak, the top of the line Predator in the franchise. You can't get better than that motley crew, that mercenary crew of Bill Duke, Jesse Ventura, Carl Weathers, Sonny Landham.
So I want to have like
Schwarzenegger,
Shane Black.
Yeah, Shane Black, who's been canceled.
But the feeling I have towards that crew and that movie are feelings that I don't want. Like I always want to have those exact feelings. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. This is not going to ruin it for me.
That's the dragon that we're always chasing, right?
Right.
Every
Yes.
time we sign up for any of the Alien versus
is the
Predator
dragon
movies,
we're always chasing. Yes.
Any of the Alien versus Predator movies, which were all kind of disappointing, or I think the Robert Rodriguez led vehicle called Predators was pretty good. That was with Adrian Brody. That one was all right. But we're all chasing the high of 1980s Predator. This is the closest I've come to recapturing that magic of my youth.
Wasn't the Predator an alien?
The Predator is an alien, but not the actual alien. See, they share a universe. That's why there was Alien versus Predator. I think Alien got top billing there. Unjustly so.
Agreed.
But
Alphabetical, maybe.
so if you listen to
syllables
the Cinephobe episode featuring Roy Bellamy, one of the great memorable parts, and I totally missed the gun from the 1700s being tossed to Danny Glover. Now that you said it, it's fresh in my mind. But the big Easter egg in Predator 2 that got everybody excited was when Danny Glover goes all sweaty through the spaceship. Is there any other kind than a sweaty Danny Glover?
Oh, everybody was sweating.
Yeah.
It was hot too.
It was
The other
very
thing
hot
in that
in
movie
LA.
is everybody was sweating.
It was apparently
hot.
a sweltering heat wave. They were on global warming far earlier than the
Climate
rest
change.
of
They
Hollywood
nailed
was.
that, yeah.
They nailed that part. But when Danny Glover is all like, no, going through the spaceship, there's a skull collection on display, and one of the skulls is the alien skull from the Alien movies, and that got everybody excited about the
so
possibilities.
Predator won.
Predator won that
Wow.
time, and it made everybody want to see an Alien versus Predator movie, and they didn't get around to it until 15 years later, and it disappointed. The sequel was all right, but then Predators came out with Robert Rodriguez and Adrian Brody, where the Predators take a bunch of mercenaries to their hunting planet, and that one was kind of cool. And then The Predator by Shane Black, which got Shane Black, who is a really good screenwriter and filmmaker, one that I really enjoyed. The Nice Guys is one of my favorite Christmas movies. In fact, every Shane Black movie is actually a Christmas movie, if you knew that. He was the script doctor on the Lethal Weapon movies, but he got canceled stemming from one of the castings. He casted a friend that was a registered sex offender in a scene with Olivia Munn. And since then, we have not seen Shane Black really since. So that leads me to believe that there's probably a little bit more there too, because people have bounced back from far worse. But this one, Prey, by far, a huge wide gulf, is the second best movie of the franchise. So I give it the highest recommendation.
I will check it out because you're recommending it. But prequels in general, Roy, are you a fan? Because now it dawned on me that Godfather 2 was a prequel to Godfather, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a very good movie. In fact, people would argue that Godfather 2 is the best of that franchise.
Well, Alien had a prequel, Prometheus, and that was Ridley Scott, I believe, who directed that one.
And that one was all right. And you could have gone into that movie not knowing at all that it was a prequel to Alien, and only at the very end do they really open up the portal to that. And then there was Prometheus 2. I kind of like that universe, but they just kind of quit.
Yeah, it did seem like they kind of quit on that one. Yeah,
yeah, that wasn't great. Alien also kind of fell off. Ironically enough, the worst movie in the Alien franchise after all the Predator reboots was Alien 3, and that's one of my favorite directors, David Fincher, that did that one. It's probably one of those that aged better.
Wait, you're saying Alien 3 was the best of the Aliens?
No, I'm saying Alien 3 is the worst, and
that was probably
weird
a studio
because,
thing, right?
Yeah, the studio had, because David Fincher is this wonderful filmmaker. He's done some of my favorite movies. Yeah, I'm one of those cliche kids of the 90s that loves Fight Club.
I feel like prequels are having a moment right now because we all kind of agreed 15 years ago that a lot of sequels stink.
Yeah.
So now we're like, how do we advance the story without making a sequel that people are just going to write off because they don't want to see Batman vs. Superman 2? Let's make a prequel. All of Better Call Saul is a prequel.
That's right, yeah.
And
Showing us how we got there?
Fans love it.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, there's some decent good
I don't love
prequels.
them. I think what's really hard to do, The Hobbit is a prequel.
I was going to ask you, because Lord of the Rings has a prequel franchise, and Game of Thrones
Game
is
of
going to
Thrones is about to come out.
What is that, House of Fire or House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon, I think, or House of Dragons.
Ring of Fire.
I mean, what you
That's
call
a cash song.
Rings of Power is the Lord of the Rings prequel series that's coming out.
Peter
on
Jackson
Amazon.
doing that?
No. There's been some contentiousness between Peter Jackson and the creators of the new Rings of Power series, or rings. Yeah.
What's the budget for the Rings of Power?
It's like $1 billion. It's an extremely.
This is a
expensive
prequel to
series.
what?
The Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings. It's like.
But is it a prequel to even The Hobbit?
Oh yeah. It takes place very, very, very far ahead of The Hobbit. Basically, a completely different Middle Earth.
I know you love the Lord of the Rings franchise. It just
I do.
It just lost me. It's kind of too long, didn't read.
It never got me.
Yeah. I
That's
watched.
surprising because the 70s were really the hate. I mean, maybe you were too young for it, but a lot of guys I know your age, Stugotz, loved the Lord of the Rings because in the 70s, the animated Lord of the Rings film came out, and I think there was a lot of I don't know, it was just getting a lot of attention at the time.
I was just never into it.
Kinda had a moment. They smoked Old Toby, and everyone was like, because the hobbits were stoners.
This is a me thing. I'm just not into the world
coming
of
around
fantasy.
on it.
But
Middle
Predator
Ages fantasy.
is not fantasy?
No, it's sci-fi.
It is sci-fi.
It's sci-fi
It's
action.
considered a sci-fi action.
If there was
movie.
a fantasy movie that had banging action scenes, I'd be down for it. But I just don't like,
I think science fiction and fantasy, though, have a lot of overlap.
It's fair. It's fair. I'm not a fan of the setting. I don't know. I like modern
So if
weaponry.
the hobbits were in New York City with guns, you would be interested.
Yeah.
Wait, but Mike, you love Point Break.
That
You
sounds
like Tombstone.
awesome.
I know you like the modern weaponry, as you put it, but you still like
Tombstone. Did you mention
Tombstone's
Tombstone?
a great
I'm
movie.
not crazy about westerns, but
That's a
there are
western,
some
yeah.
really the good,
It's
the
a
bad, the
great
ugly
movie.
still holds up.
Right.
Tombstone still holds up.
Yes.
There's some really good westerns out there.
For
Would
me,
you call Django Unchained a western?
I would.
yes.
Yeah, no, that is
I mean, it was
absolutely
done
a
on a
western.
It's listed as a
plantation.
western.
You don't have to be in the West to be a western.
Right.
It absolutely dips into Tarantino. Constantly dips into
It's a
and
great movie.
borrows
Yeah.
from, is inspired by spaghetti westerns. Look, all the great westerns were done in Italy. I mean, they weren't set in Italy, but
What?
you're not familiar with the spaghetti western?
No.
They were all done like the best westerns of all time. Or I guarantee you, there's like an Italian director behind it.
Get out of here.
All of it. That's how Clint Eastwood became a star, because of the spaghetti westerns.
What are the best westerns of all time?
The good, the bad, the ugly.
That's it, period?
That's your gold medal.
I think it's also a prequel, is it not?
The good,
To
the bad, and the
something.
ugly.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that was a prequel.
I believe it is to something, yes.
No, there were sequels to the good, the bad, the ugly. There is like a bit of an off ramp to a franchise. What was the sequel to the good, bad, the ugly? Fistful of Dollars? I think so.
Huh.
But you didn't know that the spaghetti westerns were a thing. That the great westerns that you like. I think you're a little too young for that. People like my dad's age, all the TV shows were westerns, and kids loved westerns. It was all the rage. I still like walk in on my dad and he's just watching Turner Classic Movies and it's a western on.
My Grammy loved TCM.
Yeah.
Every single day. Western after Western.
I was not into westerns. I would say the western I love the most is probably Tombstone. Like it's really not a western. Like I guess it is, but it's just the retelling of a great story, right?
Val
Doc
Kilmer,
Holliday.
I've been diving into some old, like by coincidence, be it Heat or
So good,
his documentary
Kilmer.
or
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Kilmer's so criminally underrated
I know.
as an actor.
Yeah.
I think he had this reputation. I even thought he was a decent Batman. He had this reputation. He wasn't well liked. If you watch his performance as Jim Morrison in that Doors movie,
Really good.
he embodies Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
All right, I got to answer for the good, bad, and the ugly. It's a sequel. The Fistful of Dollars is a prequel.
Wow, you were right.
And
How about that?
And a few dollars more was the sequel to A Fistful of Dollars. So the good, the bad, and the ugly is the third movie in the trilogy.
Jim Morrison is my favorite artist that is not a musician. Did not know how to
What?
play an instrument. He gave everybody hope that could just sing well in their cars. They're like, high end. I could be Jim Morrison. I got the pipes.
He gave Eddie Vedder hope.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie plays an instrument though.
Yeah, Eddie's
He plays
a musician.
guitar. Yeah.
Jim
Harmonica.
Morrison.
Yeah.
Jim Morrison he went to the Doors meetings and he's just like, I'm about vibes. Like I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna put out a vibe.
Right. You guys play around my vibe.
He did put out a
essentially.
hell of a vibe.
Yes.
Mr. Mojo Rising.
Are you a Doors fan? Yeah. What's your favorite Doors song?
Probably LA Woman.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just such a great song
Had
to
no
listen
idea.
to in the car.
It is.
Stugotz,
Builds up, a little
I've done
faster,
my
a little
limited
faster, a
fake
little faster, a little
Jim-
faster.
Jim Morrison with you in a car in Austin, but you definitely don't remember.
I
it.
don't remember. Can you do it again?
I literally just did it.
Oh.
Peace Frog for me. That's the best Doors song. And Touch Me. Touch me, babe. Riders on the Storm. The End, which is
Light My Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot of bangers, but they had a
I
very
love
short
you.
run when you look at the grand scheme of things.
Well, he died.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
there was that.
Famously.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
famously.
Always shortens the run, Mike.
He was also
Yeah.
arrested in Miami, I believe.
Really?
There was no evidence. Like, there's no photographic evidence of it. It was alleged that he exposed himself to the audience, and he was arrested by Miami PD. Roy, you can back me up on that. Is that the? I think I'm right. I'm like a dog with a bone on this
I believe
one.
you're correct.
I am.
Are
Right.
you looking it up or like what are you doing, Roy?
I'm pretty sure
I'm
Jim
looking it up
Morrison.
right
got
I know I
arrested in
Mike
Miami.
went to you because you know random stuff like that, but are you indeed looking it up or are
I
you just
am looking
confirming
it
it?
up.
Well, people sleep on Miami and that Coconut Grove area. Miami has such a rich history of great music that was produced down here.
Yeah.
The Bee Gees wrote some really tremendous.
He was from Melbourne, Florida.
He was. I lived in the Grove for a couple of years, Mike. There are constant reminders in the Grove of their musical history. You're right about that.
Yes, Jim Morrison was arrested in Miami for lewd behavior, indecent exposure, profanity, and drunkenness at a concert.
What year was this? He could have just been like gyrating on the stage.
It does not have the year. It says the trial did not begin until September 1970, so it was before
In
then.
the 60s then.
But Mike is right. It was a bunch of great musicians just playing around a vibe. Like, you know, you couldn't understand any of the words. He had a great voice, great song, great lyrics, but you really couldn't understand what the hell it is.
Even the lyrics are a little
sketchy,
Lyrics are
right?
extremely sexual because I vividly remember.
Well, he's sexual.
I mean, he has a song.
yeah.
He's just like, touch me.
Yes, literally. I mean,
Oh, there was another charge: oral copulation on guitarist Robbie Krieger during the concert.
What does that mean?
Simulated?
Oh,
Simulated oral
that's nothing.
copulation. So
That's nothing. Here, look, Miami Beach PD. Arrest me.
it's like jaywalking.
Wait, hold on. Scrub that. Cut that. I don't want the internet knowing that. I don't want that's going to be a GIF.
Leave it in.
Yeah, leave it on.
I was going to say the hardest thing to do with movies is to make the second, third, or fourth better than the original.
Then we should all bow at the altar. Well,
To Rocky.
No,
to Rocky.
No.
Yes.
I was going to say Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Who's a master of this.
Well, no, I would
Every
say
Mission
Rocky 3 was
Impossible,
better
every
than
Top
Rocky?
Gun gets better than the previous.
I mean,
Roy,
every Lord of the Rings
Mr.
movie
T?
was good.
Roy,
They haven't gotten better.
the way I rank the Rockies, which is amazing.
How you cannot do this because there was a Rocky 5.
It does,
No, that never
forget
happened.
about that.
Mike, that
Didn't
never
happen.
happened. That never happened.
The best Rockies for me are Rocky 4, 3, 2, 1, in that order. Like, think how hard that is to pull off where you keep putting out sequels and they continue to get better.
You're not,
Creed-
you're not including Creed in that, right?
I
No.
would say Creed is the. This is going to sound blasphemous.
It's not Rocky.
Creed is my favorite movie of the Rocky franchise.
I think we could actually separate Creed from the Rocky
No, you
movies
can't.
now.
Rocky Balboa's in it.
Well, not. I mean, they're separated.
But
the
it's called
franchise
Creed.
is separated now.
No,
Yes,
he's the
it's
son
the
of
Creed
Creed.
franchise.
He's the son of Creed.
No,
You can't
it's
do it.
Well,
Mike,
now it's about
Mike,
Creed. It's
Mike.
not about Rocky anymore.
Slow
It's about
down.
Creed.
It's still about Rocky. The heartwarming story in Creed is about Rocky.
Yeah, but it's also about Creed and his son.
I will say,
I mean,
that's Sylvester Stallone's best performance as Rocky in Creed.
no, I understand that, but it's called Creed, not Rocky. So I separate the two.
You can't call
1,
it Rocky
2, 3,
colon
4.
Creed. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's Creed. You can't grift off of it that overtly.
No,
It's not Rocky
I can.
colon Creed.
No,
it's Creed.
I can. I can do what I want with my Rocky franchise, and you can do what you want with your Rocky franchise.
Well, Creed is a part of the Rocky franchise.
Well, it's not for me.
It boosts it.
Wow.
If you're out here arguing that the Rocky franchise is one of the
It
best
extended
franchises,
it
yes, but it's still part of the
into
franchise.
something new.
I'm trying to boost your argument here. I'm giving you Creed, which is what
Yeah, but-
I'm admitting is
Well,
my
wait a
favorite.
minute.
Of the
Here's
If
the
that's-
problem.
If that's
No.
the case, would you call Better Call Saul a part of the Breaking Bad
I
franchise?
haven't watched Better Call Saul. I told you because there's no way it tops Breaking Bad, and I know what's going to
It
happen.
kind of does.
It kind of.
Everyone
kinda
keeps telling me
does.
that.
Exactly.
Everyone
It's
keeps telling
really
me.
good. It's a really good show.
Mike,
I can't really get down with a prequel where I know like there
you
aren't
know the
like
ending.
You don't
lethal
know the ending because
consequences.
there's stuff that's going to happen in the season finale that happens after the timeline of Breaking Bad. That's what everyone's waiting to find
Okay.
out. I don't want to spoil it.
All
but
right, then I'll just jump in now.
That's what you're waiting for to see what happens there in that
You're
last
gonna see the
episode.
series finale, and that's it, aren't you?
because I'm sure during the course of Better Call Saul, there have been times where you're like, man, I don't think Saul's going to make it.
No, well, not really because
But-
they didn't make
but you
the
know he
show.
makes
They
it.
didn't make the show about him. They made the show about other characters that you did wonder are they going to make it or not
Okay.
because they're
But
not
to
in
Mike's
Breaking
point,
Bad.
you know Saul makes it.
Yeah, but
Aside
they
from
don't.
Gus
They
and
don't
Mike.
really
That kind of
put him-
ruins it, you know?
No, because they don't like the show is not really about him.
Okay.
That's why it's really good.
All right,
because
that's my disconnect.
they
I thought it was all
made-
about him.
I
Right.
mean, yes, it is about him and
Well,
how
it's
he
Better Call
becomes
Saul.
a
I mean,
criminal
who's
lawyer.
it about?
But what makes the show really good is that these ancillary characters that they focused on have amazing performances and really interesting storylines, and so you wonder more what's going to happen to them. And in the finale season, there have been like some answers, like some characters have either died or we find out something's going to happen. I'm not saying who.
I mean, aside from
it's-
Mike and Gus, we know what happens to them already.
It's fair to assume that characters die in a Vince
Yeah.
Gilligan show.
Yes.
Gruesomely, I might add. But there's still a couple characters left, and we don't know what's going to happen to them going into the finale.
It's got so many shows, man. Can
So much TV.
Can
Yeah, too
Better Call
much.
Saul be like? It's just like such a mountain to climb. That's why I love Blackbird so much. You told me the story in 6 episodes. I'm done in 2 days.
I like that.
I don't have
In
3.5
and out.
weeks
Yeah.
for Better Call Saul. I don't. I had it for Breaking Bad.
Right.
It was a different time.
I don't know. You might have to make time for this one.
And
Why?
there's been some really good
Everyone
guest
says it.
performances, like
Tony
Saul's,
Dalton.
Saul's brother.
Jess and Roy
Michael
do have
McCann.
pretty good taste
yeah.
when it comes to television.
Roy told me about Breaking Bad way before anyone else told me about Breaking Bad. In fact, I think he told all of us about
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
No,
and I
it's
still have the box
synonymous.
set, the DVD box set that Roy gave me back in, I don't know, 15 years
still
ago.
have that?
I'm getting to it.
Still have a DVD player.
When I think of Breaking Bad, I think of Roy because he was championing
Yes.
that cause
Yes.
for so long.
Yes.
It's synonymous with
I think the problem with Rocky is that albatross that is Rocky 5 is sitting in the
It
middle
never
of all
happens,
this.
Stugotz.
I know, but it's still there. It did happen. It's sitting there, and so we don't know what to do with the Rocky franchise. I am with Roy where I separate Creed and Rocky, and I think Rocky and Stallone pulled off the impossible. Where 1, 2, 3, 4, each movie was better than the next. That never happens. Now, Mike, I am with you. Creed might be the best, but I don't consider Creed to be a part of the Rocky franchise. I separate the two. I know Stallone's in it. I know the story's really about Stallone, but it's not Stallone boxing, you know? Therefore, for me, it's hard to really include in the Rocky franchise. He's a coach now, you know?
I think some of the issues too is like Mike said, you have a mountain to climb to watch Better Call Saul, and I did a lot of that during the pandemic because I loved Breaking Bad, and then I was like, oh, Better Call Saul, let me start watching. So I'm a Netflix watcher. I don't watch it on AMC, so I don't watch it live. But to that point, Stu, like Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, I've never seen a Rocky movie, right? But I don't know if I have enough time to invest in 8 hours of Rocky.
Right.
I
So
just
you haven't
can't
watched
do-
Creed?
You should
So I
find
haven't
the
seen any
time.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any of it, but it's like
See, this is
I
why
have so
Creed-
much to go that I'm just like,
This is why I think Creed is a part of the Rocky franchise.
Are you going to say if you watch one, watch Creed?
No, I'm saying you have to watch the Rocky franchise. You don't have to, but to get the full emotional hit of what's happening to Rocky's character in Creed, it really helps if you watch the other films. It really does. I would say it's good supplemental. These are classics.
they are. I just haven't seen them.
Here,
Right.
you can actually skip Rocky 1. You really can.
You
because
can.
they just run it back in the sequel.
I mean, it's
Yes.
an origin story, though.
Yeah, here's underdog story. He has no shot. It's like a sideshow, like a circus act. Like, come watch the best boxer in the world beat up on this loser, and the loser puts up a fight. He doesn't win. The sequel.
went to the
wait,
card in that one.
you miss
It's
Joe
a guy-
Adrian.
it's a guy
He screams
off-
Joe Adrian.
Yes.
I did it, but he actually didn't do shit. What he did
didn't do
is
shit,
he
okay.
lost.
He went the distance.
that
is what
was
he
Rocky
did.
2.
Oh, he went
that
that
was
was
Rocky
two.
2, what he said.
Joe
Yeah, it's Rocky
Adrian. So you miss literally nothing. He
Right.
chases a
So I
couple.
can
of
just start
chickens.
at 2.
Is that also Rocky 2? Where he chases the
in
chickens?
Rocky 1,
Yes,
Adrian
that's
came
2.
in the ring,
Yes.
and Rocky said that he loved her. That's what happened to Rocky 1. Rocky 2 was when he won the championship. Yo, Adrian, I
I
did.
spoiled Rocky 2 for you.
Okay, so he wins
Right.
the championship.
So
Rocky
now
2.
you're
What
on
happens
the
to Rocky
three.
3?
You miss a skating date in
Skating
Rocky
date, okay.
1.
What about
Number
3?
1 is slow.
Very
Very
slow.
slow.
Does not hold
It's
up.
the worst of the Rockies, except
Rocky
for
2, you
5.
jump in.
Okay,
Rocky 3, that's Mr. T.
Mr. T. Okay,
You gotta
Clubber
watch.
Lang. Clubber Lang,
You
right.
gotta
You have
watch
to watch.
Rocky
Must
3.
watch.
So I can start.
Must
I can start
watch.
at number 3 then.
I think in terms
You
of
can,
like
yes.
working up hate for a villain, Clubber Lang is the second best villain in the franchise behind Rocky
Drago,
4,
right.
Ivan Drago.
Jessica,
That's my point. They pulled off the impossible. 4 is better than 3. 3 is better than 2. 2 is better than 1.
The villains in Creed
Yes.
not good.
There's no way these movies have aged well enough where Tony and I are going to watch them now and be like, oh,
You're missing out.
fantastic. What a great way to spend 25 hours of my life.
It's not 25 hours, and I've cut off
close.
Rocky.
Like it.
it's pretty close.
I've cut off Rocky and skip Rocky
25
5.
best hours of your life.
No,
Skip
don't
Rocky
sleep on
5.
Tommy Gunn. Don't sleep
No,
on Tommy
you
Gunn.
Yeah,
always
sleep
on Tommy
You
Gunn.
heard Tommy
Is that
Gunn.
number
You have-
5?
Take a nap. Please.
What are you
Sleep. Take a
talking
nap.
about?
On Tommy Gunn.
So you can sleep forever on Tommy Gunn.
I mean,
I
lay your
did.
head on the pillow on that one.
What?
Who would
It's a
that?
call. It's a callback. It's
It's a callback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll catch
I know
it.
you guys
Yeah,
are
yeah.
gagging and everything.
And the segment.